Welcome to Inside Politics with Kevin Klein, Geoff Currier, and Royce Koop, where we break down the stories shaping our country.
Hi, I'm Kevin Klein. Welcome to Inside Politics. I'm joined by two colleagues, Geoff Currier from the Winnipeg Sun and Royce Koop, who is a columnist with the Winnipeg Sun and also a professor of political sciences at the University of Manitoba. Gentlemen, at the start of the Trump presidency, I understood what he was trying to do. I kind of saw where he was trying to lead the path, and now I'm tired of him. I'm already tired of him. We're not at the end of February yet. And I just feel like I want to stand in front of him and go, you know what, pal? I'm closing the stage curtains. The play's over. It's time for you to stop the nonsense. I think it's really time that we find someone from Canada that can go down there, look him in the eye and say, enough is enough, and start making threats of our own. What do you think?
I did talk to somebody in Ottawa who's very connected to what happens on Parliament Hill, and the impression that they were given by both Republicans and Democrats in Washington is that we've got our own problems. We can't carry the bag for you. Canada, you're kind of on your own. The charm offensive is not going to work. Donald Trump is not a man who is going to be charmed, nor are his close associates. And so I think it's time to get a little bit tougher. Royce, what do you think?
I mean, it's gone on for quite a while. The kind of the mocking tone about Canada becoming the 51st state. It's no matter what happens, he kind of sticks with that line. And I think he probably knows that there is no one in Canada, virtually no one, that would want to join the United States. It's really kind of a fringe position when it comes to public opinion in Canada. So I think a lot of what he's saying, it's designed for domestic consumption in the US. I wouldn't take it so terribly seriously. I would take the tariff talk very seriously indeed. That's what we should be focusing on. But yeah, a lot of the overheated rhetoric, the talk of annexing Canada, it's not going to happen, and we shouldn't pretend otherwise. We shouldn't let that affect how we respond to the tariff threat either.
But I
If
mean,
he's
let's
right
look at.
about if he's right about anything, Kevin, it's the fact that we are underspending on our military, and Donald Trump is not the first president to raise that complaint with Canada. This has been been a perpetual problem that we are not lifting. You know, we always say we punch above our own weight. Well, we're not. Militarily, we punch way below our own weight. And if Donald Trump is right about anything, he's following the lead of successive presidents who have come before him, who have expressed their displeasure at our country not shouldering its fair share of the military load.
Well, look, it's a simple fact that we are reliant upon the U.S. We believe that they'll come to our rescue if anything happens here domestically, right? We believe that they'll come and they'll protect Canada. I think my concern with the rhetoric now is it's just I think you can see it's starting to impact everyday Canadians when he's talking about the tariffs and we're talking about the job losses, potential job losses. I really appreciate and admire what the South African president did when Trump started making threats there. He just immediately came out and said, effective today, we're not selling you any more of our minerals and we're not letting any US made products in. And Trump backed down. Like he backed down like a
Yeah.
schoolyard bully would back down when you stand up to him. And maybe Canada needs to take that approach and say, fine, if you want to put a 25% tariff on our aluminum, guess what? We're not going to sell it to you. We're going to find somebody else to sell it to and call his bluff. I agree with you, Geoff. We have to start pulling our own weight and we have to get better with our military. We have to start protecting our borders better. We have to get tough on crime. He did a good job of shining a light on our weaknesses. But really, the rhetoric, enough.
Royce,
A
our
lot.
problem with the military, of course, is that military spending in Canada is not a ballot box issue. There's no votes in it.
Yeah, I mean that might change in moving forward if it's affecting real pocketbook issues. I think that one of the concerns with the rhetoric, Trump's rhetoric, is that it knocks us off balance. It's designed to do that.
Yes.
Canada is not going to be annexed by the United States. It's not going to be the 51st state. We shouldn't let that fear shape how we respond to the threat of tariffs. And yet it is. We actually had the prime minister saying that he thought it was a serious threat. Almost unbelievable. Like, does he genuinely think that, or is there some partisan advantage to him saying that. I actually think Bob Ray, he went on to Fox News and he gave an interview and he said simply, look, Canada is a sovereign country and our leader deserves respect. Calling him the governor of Canada, talking about annexing Canada. We don't, we shouldn't accept that. We are a sovereign country and we do deserve the respect of the US president and other world leaders.
But we are playing into his hands, right? We are going down there.
Yes.
We're trying the diplomatic approach. We're doing everything he expects us to do. We're doing it wrong. And I think that again, I've said it many times in the Winnipeg Sun, we have to take decisive action here in our own country. We have to break down our own trade barriers between provinces. But what I think we do now have to kind of take a stand against the tariff nonsense. We have to fight back and push back a little bit harder. Again, I agree. Yes, our military is not what it should be. We are not protecting the North. We need a northern port. All these things, he has certainly done us a favor in shining a light on it. And really, you got to give him credit for boosting Canadian patriotism, right? Flags are showing up everywhere. I would complain about that years ago, that you'd go down to the US, you'd see flags everywhere. Here in Canada, you'd be lucky to spot one on a federal building. But now people are talking about buying them. So yeah, there's some good there, but it's, sooner or later, you know what? I look at it this way because I love hockey, refereeing hockey, played hockey. Every once in a while, you need somebody to drop the gloves with the tough guy on the other team and say, enough is enough. We need someone now to come in, drop the gloves and say, let's go. Let's just get it out of the way and then we can get back on with the game.
Yeah, Royce said you probably have some more insights into this, but the European Union has a stake in this as well.
Mhm.
And it'll be interesting to see how the EU responds to these tariffs.
Yeah, I mean that is true. Like, Canada is kind of uniquely vulnerable to these sorts of threats and to tariffs, for the reasons that you and Kevin have laid out. I actually agree. It's be nice to see a revival of Canadian patriotism over the last few weeks in response to Donald Trump, particularly amongst people, including federal liberal politicians who spent the last decade telling us that Canada was a kind of broken country, denigrating the symbols of the country, the history of the country, the institutions of the country. All of a sudden, they're huge patriots. Well, that's wonderful. Welcome back to the family.
It's a very valid point. But so I also wrote an article, and I wanted to get both of your opinions on this about the potential of doing a North American Union, almost like the European Union. Do you think that this is where he's heading? Obviously, he's playing games and he's trying to go negotiate. Is that what he's looking for? Because we had free trade. He was the author of it. He was the one who was part of it, but it's not good enough for him now. So do we have to look at something like a European Union? A lot of people were supportive of it. A lot of people thought I was crazy, but I think these are things we have to start thinking about in a changing world.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean Spear, who writes at thehub.ca, made a really good argument saying that we need to be looking at unorthodox solutions. This is a really weird time. We need to be open to things that we haven't been open to in the past. And actually, full on economic union, the kind that you wrote about, Kevin, is one of those things. Maybe we need to be looking at that, look at the advantages as well as the disadvantages, and be open to things that we haven't been open to in the recent past.
Yeah. And on a final note, I'll say it again. We need someone to drop the gloves. Get in the corner with him, drop the gloves, and have at her. And then we can move on with the rest of the game. We'll both send them to the box for a couple of minutes, then get back to the game. Thank you for your thoughts on this, gentlemen.